how do you get this cost way down?
Yeah.
So it's more accessible, because let's face it, like some families not going in and spending $50 on a 12-pack of bagels.
I know. And see, and that's one thing I really kind of hate about the market, and it's really kind of programmed us in a way to think that, a bagel should be, X amount, right? But if you think about it, like, there's so much cost that goes into producing a premium product that's good for us, right? And that R&D. And there's a reason why these kind of large conglomerate companies aren't making that investment, right? They're trying to push out product, and you just don't want to incur that cost up front. And, I think what we are doing is we're saying, like, like, this is important. Like, human health is important, like, we want the consumer to understand that, novel technology and natural ingredients and putting things that are good for you in your body, like that, it's expensive, and it's more expensive a lot of times than the market dictates, because the market offers a lot of stuff that's terrible for you and going to cause
And the good news is
bad.
You have the same thing happen with Beyond Meat. They had burgers, and the burgers were $16, $18, and you could go to In-N-Out Burger for $4 and get a great burger. And I passed on investing on that as a stupid decision, because I just thought nobody's going to pay 4 times as much for a burger that doesn't taste as good. And it turns out there were a large number of people who would pay 3, 4, 5 times as much to get something that was healthier and better for the environment.
Yeah.
But they've since, I think, as they got to scale, have lowered it. Are you able to even turn a profit?
We're
at
not
$4 you're not going to be able to be profitable at $4 a bagel?
We're not profitable right now. And so I just, definitely want to make that clear is we're not profitable. But what we want to do is get this product in front of the consumer, take the consumer on the journey with us, and, really get real-time feedback. And that's the only way that people can start benefiting from the product, right? So it really is interesting. Like, we get a lot of feedback that, is that question of like, oh, why is this product so expensive? Like, you guys must be like profiting so much from this. Like, how about making it more accessible? We're not, right? Like, the fact of the matter is we're early stage. We're not profitable. But, we're so excited about this because we think it's going to be a game changer for so many people and provide that element of freedom that, we've never really gotten before or that's never been possible before.
We had the Magic Spoon team on, Gabby, episode 1220, and he told me they spent a year doing the R&D for their cereal. I'm curious, how long did it take you to develop the bagel?
Oh, gosh. Well, so I started kind of the R&D process on my own in terms of understanding the technology, what was happening in the market, et cetera. Just like doing my due diligence in my second year of business school. So if you count that, well over a year. But if you count from, when we actually closed our first round of funding and started engaging with, the labs that we worked with, it was a 4-month push from that to launch.
4 months from launch. And so,
which was a crazy time.
Yeah.
It was fast and it was crazy. And, I honestly think that a huge part of why we were able to do that is because of luck. And you hear about the impossible story, Pat Brown, who's, obviously such an inspiring person. Their first hypothesis of how they were going to extract the heme, for example, to replicate that bleed of, a traditional burger, it took them $9 million, right? And a year to realize that their hypothesis was wrong. And then they had to start from scratch. So I think we got so lucky in just being able to get that right the first time. And, I really think it's 1 in a million. And, so grateful for that because it allowed us to get into the market, right? It allowed us to put this in front of the consumer. It allowed us to start putting our stake in the ground as, the Beyond Meat of carbs. And, allowed us to start making impact and feeling that.
And are there competitors from the giant CPG companies yet? Are they even looking at this? The Kellogg's, the Pillsbury's, all these giant brands? They're not even thinking about this yet?
You know what? No. What's interesting is we've gotten a lot of inquiries from their investment arms and their venture arms, trying to play a part in this early on. But, in terms of R&D, it's just the focus on, the focus really just isn't on innovation, right? For these kind of existing large conglomerates. It's mostly on existing product proliferation and additional development on those existing product profiles. So, again, that kind of opened up this huge white space for us to be able to step in and really, after feeling, that very personal pain point of, why can't I just eat what I want without guilt and feeling bad about it, really opens up that white space for us.
What are net carbs? I know that a lot of these packaging, instead of saying carbs, they say net carbs. I think you say net carbs. How does net carbs work? And is that like a little bit of funny business going on there with the actual carb counts?
Definitely not funny business.
Okay.
It's just about how your body processes the carbs. So for example, on our label, we say, we're 32 total carbs, but 27 of that 32 is fiber.
Got it.
And so fiber isn't absorbed by your body. So the actual carb content that's absorbed is, the 5 grams remaining. So even though you're eating this product that, tastes so carb heavy, you're not actually, incurring that blood sugar spike that's, related to, a large refined carb consumption. You're not, getting the carb content from it.
I feel like you're 50% being a bagel snob. My assessment as a kid from Brooklyn of where you're at is about halfway there in terms of the flavor, the texture. Where do you assess you're at in terms of if you were to put a bagel in front of somebody from a, H&H Bagel or whatever bagel you like in New York, a nice buttered bagel, toasted, whatever, lox, cream cheese, and your bagel, where do you feel you are on that journey of like sort of competing against, the most legit Brooklyn bagel, New York bagel?
Oh gosh, you gave us 50%?
I think 50%. Yeah, I think you're halfway there. The mouthfeel is a little chewy, but in a different way than a bagel. Flavor's a little bit off. But when I toasted it, I'll give you this. When I toasted it with butter, I think it got to like maybe 60% of of my joy in eating a bagel, which by the way, that to me was phenomenal. My expectation was, because I've had some funky stuff and, I've had all the mock meats and, if you put up the steak that I get, if I'm getting, Kobe beef or a Wagyu or a, great ribeye, I would say like the burgers and the steak are probably 25% as satisfying. So I felt like 50-60% was pretty great for a first iteration. So where do you assess you're at? And then how do you think about closing that gap? Or maybe you don't even feel there's a gap, but for me, there's definitely a gap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did it hurt your feelings? I'm sorry.
No,
I thought that was pretty.
Great.
I thought that was a compliment for a 1.0.
Okay, everybody, let's take a moment to talk about growth marketing and all the tactics and hacks that are out there. With me today, Jake Basgard. He is the CEO and founder of Disruptive Advertising, which you can visit at disruptiveadvertising.com/twist. So, some questions for you, Jake. When is too early to start marketing your Cyber Monday or your Black Friday? What's the right time to engage people, and how do you engage them?
Yeah, that's going to depend on the audience, but the cheapest customer is the person that's already bought from you before. And it's time today to start warming up the audience that bought from you last year. With custom audiences on social or email, it's time to get on top of those right now and getting them warm and ready to engage. As far as new audiences are concerned, there's a lot of opportunity to explore new platforms outside of the traditional Google, Facebook channels like Instagram, TikTok, some of these other ones, LinkedIn, YouTube. Let's get some new audiences in place and test those out and find what's working so that we're ready to scale when game time comes.
All right, that's great advice. So if you want to sign up for a free digital marketing audit with Jake and his company, Disruptive Advertising, just visit disruptiveadvertising.com/twist. And if you go into business with Disruptive, you will receive a $250 gift card and a free Friday to Sunday ski trip in Utah. We'll see you on the slopes. It's going to be a great season.